In 1835, during the Carlist War in eastern Álava, soldiers stand in front of captured men, preparing to execute them. Suddenly, they discover the prisoners have been hiding something. One soldier calls over another to show him. The second one lights up when he sees it.
Sir, look at this!
Afterward, the soldiers get ready to leave, but the third rebel suddenly stands and attacks. Chaos erupts. The priest sees something horrifying, something not human. The lieutenant freezes in shock as the priest is stabbed. The rebel ignores bullets, walking toward the lieutenant. As the officer tries to run, the rebel throws a bayonet into him, then smashes his head with a hammer. 8 years later, workers tend to a farm when a man named Alfredo Ortiz arrives in the village of Álava. At the local bar, a man named Fino tries selling a broken chain to the owner, Santi. He claims it once belonged to Teodosio Deoni, just 30 royals. Right then, Alfredo walks in and asks for a room. Santi says he has one available and offers a drink, but Alfredo declines, saying he doesn't drink. When asked about his visit, he says he's here to meet the village blacksmith. Faustino warns him the blacksmith is dangerous. Alfredo says it's private business. Though unsure, Santi tells his son Bonito to carry Alfredo's bag upstairs. "Right this way, sir." While Bonito carries the bag, Alfredo asks for directions to the forge. Santi explains the path and ends with a warning. "Be careful. The devil lives there." Later, Alfredo finds a fenced area filled with crosses and spikes. Looking through, he sees even more inside. This is the home of Francisco Pachi, the blacksmith. Inside, Pachi works on a blade but snaps his hammer in frustration. Angry, he slams his fist into the heated metal. The next morning, villagers gather at church. Father Don Mateo calls out Alfredo for missing Mass. He then warns the congregation, claiming evil still walks among them. Meanwhile, Bonito sneaks a letter from Alfredo's things. Santi catches him reading it and grabs it. As he reads, his face changes. "To our Lord Jesus Christ." Elsewhere, a young girl named Uga sets up a picnic with her doll and wine she took from the church. As she plays, a snake slides onto her mat. Calmly, she picks it up and offers it an apple. But suddenly, a rock hits the snake, thrown by Bonito and his friend, who think they've helped. "It was about to bite you." "No, you idiot! He was my friend!" Oog shouts, angry they killed the snake. The boys mock her for skipping church. She brushes it off. Then Bonito insults her dead mother. Oog snaps and runs off. They chase her to Pachi's gate. Bonito grabs her doll and won't give it back. When Oog hits him, he rips the doll's head off and throws it over the fence. "Take your stupid doll." The boys then wander into the woods and see Pachi coming out of the trees. They hide and whisper old stories, that he killed his wife and eats children. One boy throws a rock that hits him. They immediately scatter. "Run! Run!" Pachi throws a rock back, hitting Bonito and grabbing him briefly. Bonito breaks free and runs. Later, his mother Anna finds him with a bloody nose. He lies, saying he got hurt looking for Uga. When she presses, he admits they left her behind. Just then, Uga returns. Her guardian Blanca scolds her. Seeing a wine stain on Uga's dress, Father Mateo punishes her by twisting her ear. At the bar, Anna scolds Santi for ignoring his son, but he's busy showing the letter to Fino, Miguel, Lucas, and Nestor. The letter reveals why Alfredo came. He's after gold. Just then, Alfredo walks in, snatches the letter, and warns them to stay out of it. Santi quickly apologizes and offers him a free stay at the inn. Instead, Alfredo suggests they help him get into the forge. Anna insists Santi has work, so Miguel and the others volunteer in exchange for clearing their bar tabs. Fino brings up an old legend. 12 pounds of gold were once gifted by the Russian Tsar during the siege of Bilbao, but the gold vanished. Rumor says it's buried on Pachi's land. Fino warns Alfredo, "If I were you, I'd stay away from there." Despite the tales, how Pachi went mad after his wife's death, and how screams still come from his house, Alfredo sticks to his plan. The next day, Alfredo sends Miguel, Lucas, and Nestor to Pachi's house. He stays behind, armed and watchful. The three approach the gate. Miguel knocks, shouting for Pachi to open up. From inside, Pachi yells, "Go away!" Miguel threatens to break the door down. Pachi eventually opens it, but just then, Lucas steps into a bear trap, and screams in pain. The noise distracts them. Patchy takes advantage, slamming Miguel with a shield, then turning to Nestor, who swings an axe. Patchy knocks him down with a hammer and a kick. Miguel and Nestor flee, leaving Lucas. Patchy calmly removes the trap and tells Lucas to leave. Lucas limps off, but falls into another hidden trap that clamps shut viciously. Patchy drags him inside and slams the door. He begins throwing objects and yelling in rage. Outside, a group of girls bully Uga, saying her mother is in hell. Overwhelmed, Uga slaps one of them and screams until they run away. Inside the house, Father Mateo examines the chain Fino gave him. In the kitchen, Blanca tells Uga to add firewood. As Uga stares into the flames, she gently touches the scar on her face. Suddenly, Mateo softens. He apologizes for being too harsh and says he only wants the best for her. Uga is still upset, asks if people who hate themselves and take their own lives go to hell. Mateo answers solemnly, "It's a mortal sin, and their souls are condemned." Hearing that, Uga runs outside in tears and tells her doll she'll fix it. She heads to Patchy's gate to find the doll's head. Slipping through the fence, she starts exploring. But when Patchy appears, she panics and hides under a small bridge. From there, she watches him dragging Lucas's lifeless body. He stops to look for his shovel, right near where she's hiding. She crawls deeper into a small cave. Looking through a window, she sees a boy locked in a cage. The boy begs for help. He pulls up his sleeve, showing a cross-shaped burn. "Please, little girl, help me. Get me out." While Patchy is outside resetting traps, he finds the doll's severed head. Inside the forge, the boy tells Uge the cage key is on Patchy's belt, but she's too scared to get close. They hear footsteps, and Uge hides just in time. Patchy comes in, glances at the cage, then heads to another area. He quietly drinks and stares at a broken rope hanging from the ceiling. When he falls asleep, the boy pleads again. Uge gathers her courage, sneaks into the next room, and sees Patchy snoring. She carefully removes the keys from his belt and returns to the boy. Struggling with the lock, she gives him the key. He unlocks it himself and grabs a pitchfork. As he nears Patchy, something horrifying happens. Uge watches in shock as the boy begins to change, morphing into a terrifying demon and floating above Patchy. Patchy jolts awake and reacts fast, swinging his hammer with full force. The demon drops the pitchfork and vanishes. Acting quickly, Patchy stokes the flames for light and spots Uga running out. Before he can chase her, the demon reappears and attacks. Uge stumbles, sprains her ankle, and limps along the canal looking for a way out. Inside, Patchy fights back. He grabs a metal rod and drives it into the demon's face. The creature screeches and vanishes again, but when it returns, it grabs Uge and holds her hostage. Patchy charges, but the demon knocks over a heavy shelf, pinning him down. As he struggles, the demon begins to carry Uge away until he steps into one of Patchy's bear traps. The jaws snap shut, making him drop her. She hits her head on a metal rod. Patchy seizes the moment, slams the demon in the horn, and stuns him. He picks up the unconscious Uge. Meanwhile, Bonito finds Uge's torn doll outside Patchy's gate. Worried, he peers through and sees Patchy carrying her away. That night, Santi tends to Miguel and Nestor as they recover. Bonito bursts in, telling everyone that Patchy has Uge and that he saw something else. There was something evil in there. The devil was there too. Alfredo acts quickly. He tells the men they have full support from the government to save the girl. They all step forward. "I'm in. Who's with us?" At the forge, Uge wakes up in a small room. Limping to the door, she sees Patchy facing the demon. It tries to scare him, but Patchy lifts a crucifix, making it flinch. "Look who missed you, Sartiel," the demon says mockingly. He tells Patchy that death is coming, and their deal still stands. Patchy refuses, saying it's over. The demon reminds him that he only got to return home because of the pact, and now must live with the pain. Patchy admits he never wanted to see his wife like that again. Sartiel accuses him of driving her into someone else's arms. Later, Patchy gives Uge the doll's missing head and wraps her ankle in her scarf. "It was my mother's," she says softly. "Where did you get this?" she asks. Patchy then shows her the demon Sartiel, trapped in a cage. Sartiel grins and says Patchy's wife sends greetings from hell. Patchy lifts an iron rod, ready to strike. Uge copies him, jabbing the demon and calling him a liar. In response, Patchy dumps a jar of chickpeas onto the ground. Sartiel, bound by demonic rules, starts counting them. When he's halfway through, Patchy stirs them again, forcing him to restart. Uge giggles and joins in as Sartiel groans in frustration. Then Patchy shows her a special bell, blessed and powerful. When rung, Sartiel screams in agony. She rings it a few times, enjoying how it makes him cower. Furious, Sartiel curses all humans, especially Patchy, calling him soulless and damned. Patchy ignores him and tells Uge to step outside. As she leaves, she apologizes to Sartiel for poking him. She asks if he's seen her real mother, the one who hanged herself after Uge was born. Sartiel cruelly says yes, and that she's likely in hell. Uge, desperate, asks if she can be saved. Sartiel laughs. No one escapes hell. "Let her go," she yells. Suddenly, Patchy slams his hammer on the cage, knocking Sartiel out. "He lies about everything," Patchy says as he lifts Uge. They head for the village. At the village gate, an angry crowd waits. Father Mateo demands Patchy return Uge. He does. Blanca runs to the girl asking what happened. Uge replies, "Nothing. I'm fine." Miguel steps up, accusing Patchy of killing Lucas. Patchy says it was an accident, but no one listens. The men beat him while Uge begs them to stop. Patchy pleads with Mateo, who calmly tells him not to resist. They tie him up. Alfredo announces he'll search Patchy's house himself. Santi warns him it's too dangerous to go alone. The others insist on joining. "This is our town. We're coming too, whether you like it or not." Inside the forge, Mateo reveals a truth from years ago. Patchy once brought a baby and a bell he forged to the church. That baby was Uge. After returning from war, Patchy found that his wife, Maitat, had moved on and had a child with another man. In a rage, he tried to harm the baby, scarring her face. When her lover intervened, Patchy killed him. Devastated, Maitat took her own life. Alfredo tells the men to bring Patchy in. As they search the forge, Miguel finds the caged demon and backs away in fear. He calls the others. Mateo sees Sartiel and gasps, praising God. "Proof! The demon exists!" Sartiel grins. "Come closer, old man. I'll prove it to you." Mateo insists on taking Sartiel to the Vatican. The demon mocks him, saying he might end up as Pope. Alfredo tells the villagers to wait outside, but Mateo refuses. "I have the strength of the Lord!" Suddenly, Miguel hits Mateo and pushes Santi outside. They warn the crowd. "There's a demon inside!" Mateo adds, "Alfredo may be trying to set it free." Alarmed, Santi tells the villagers, "We have to stop this! Help me get in!" Inside, Alfredo orders Miguel and Nestor to tie up Patchy and ignore the demon. They demand to know where the gold is. Patchy stays silent. When Miguel leans in, Patchy bites off his ear. Miguel screams, then begins beating him. Sartiel laughs, enjoying the violence. Alfredo slowly walks toward the cage. Unseen, Uge has snuck back in and watches. Sartiel tries to strike a deal, freedom in exchange for gold. Alfredo refuses. Then Sartiel freezes. He recognizes Alfredo. "Allure, it's you." The demon brightens, thinking he's saved. But Alfredo, actually the demon Allure, says he's here for Patchy's soul, not Sartiel's. "You exposed yourself. You broke the rules. You're finished." Sartiel begs for mercy. "Too late," Allure growls. He commands the men to hang Patchy. Miguel hesitates, unsure where the gold is. But Allure's eyes glow, his voice deepens, and the men obey out of fear. Outside, the villagers try to break into the forge but fail. In desperation, they start throwing lanterns through the windows, trying to burn everything down, especially the demon. Inside, Sartiel spots Uge hiding and makes a last-ditch offer. He says if she helps him escape, he'll protect Patchy, and even check on her mother in hell. He tells her to ring the bell to cause a distraction. "Sartiel!" he yells, drawing Allure's attention as fire spreads around them. Oog rushes forward, grabs the bell, and rings it loudly. The sharp sound paralyzes both demons. Alor's disguise shatters, revealing his monstrous form. Miguel and Nestor, shocked, drop their weapons and shoot him in the head. The villagers finally break through the door. Uja quickly unties Patchy. To everyone's surprise, she then opens Sartiel's cage and sets him free. "Help me get out. Please, hurry." Mateo arrives just in time to see Sartiel escape. The demon glances at Uge and quietly apologizes. "I'm not going back to hell." He disappears into the night, but not far. He's caught again in one of Patchy's traps. This time, the villagers attack without hesitation. Uge runs to Mateo, seeking comfort, but instead he slaps her. Furious she freed the demon, he walks away. Quiet and heartbroken, Uja steps up to Alor and says, "Take me to my mother." Alor looks at her, asking if she really understands what that means. She nods. He tells her the price, her soul. She accepts. As their hands touch, Alor transforms into his full demonic form, tall and horrifying. Oog trembles, realizing too late what she's agreed to. He drives his pitchfork into her chest. Patchy wakes just in time to see it. He screams and rushes over, holding her lifeless body. Mateo solemnly states, "Alor has taken her soul to hell." Desperate, Patchy begs Sartiel to take him to the underworld. Sartiel laughs and refuses, but Patchy reminds him he owes her. Without her, he'd still be locked in a cage. Reluctantly, Sartiel agrees, but warns the small bell Patchy carries isn't enough. Mateo steps up and offers the large church bell. Fino suddenly notices a mark on the bell. It's the Carlist symbol. The gold, it was in the church the whole time. Miguel, greedy, whispers to Santi that now's their chance. Disgusted, Santi punches him to the floor. Patchy then releases Sartiel. The demon smirks and stabs him immediately. Patchy wakes up in a nightmarish landscape. Around him, lost souls are being herded by demons toward the flaming gates of hell. He drags a heavy sack as he pushes through the crowd. Then, he spots Uja. He runs to her and embraces her tightly. But their reunion is cut short as a swarm of demons charges toward them. Patchy tells Uj to go find Sartiel, while he holds the others off. Suddenly, Alor appears. His mere presence makes the other demons back away. Alor demands Patchy step through the gates. In response, Patchy pulls out a jar and taunts him. "Count what's inside." He drops it, but it doesn't break. Alor kicks it aside and raises his pitchfork. Just then, Uga grabs the jar herself and throws its contents, chickpeas, into the air. Alor freezes. Bound by his nature, he's forced to count every single one. As he does, the gates begin to close. Patchy rushes to Oog and Sartiel. The demon shields his eyes from the counting compulsion. Patchy cradles Oog and asks Sartiel to take her back to the living world. Sartiel warns that more demons will come. Patchy nods and says he'll stay behind, to look after her mother. As Sartiel prepares to leave, Uji looks back one last time. Patchy raises the church bell high and slams it down in front of Alor. Back in the real world, Uji wakes up in Blanca's arms. The villagers stand around, stunned by everything they've witnessed. Sartiel appears once more and declares, "Uj is pure. Hell doesn't want her." He warns the townspeople, "Treat her well, or you'll answer for it." Then he vanishes. The villagers gather around Uga, gently. Even Bonito approaches and gives her the doll he fixed. Later, deep in the forest, Sartiel, now in human form, collapses by the road. A passing carriage stops, and the driver offers him a ride. As they ride, the driver asks for a story. Sartiel smiles and says, "Well, I've got a good one." "Great, I'm all ears, friend." Far below, in the underworld, Patchy forces open the gates of hell, carrying the church bell, ready for whatever waits on the other side.